Hey guys, Drifter here. Today I want to talk about Overwatch. I got to play this game at PAX. I personally think it was fantastic. It was my favorite game at the entire show, and I feel that it's not getting as much attention as it deserves. If you're not familiar, this is a new IP by Blizzard, which in itself should be very interesting because Blizzard has not had a new piece of intellectual property since 1995, 2000, since like forever. Blizzard has had the same couple of core games since as long as I can remember. Since Blizzard hasn't had a new IP since some of you were born even. It's crazy how long. So this is like a really big thing. For me, this is like Half-Life 3 level big that they're doing something new. And it's even better because I'm a shooter gamer. I play a lot of shooters. If they were going to make something new, I would expect like a MOBA or another StarCraft or strategy game or MMO or something. But no, they're going straight into the shooter genre. And so far, it's really good. I'm going to talk a little bit about the game today and a little bit how I feel about it. So I got to sit down and play at PAX. I was really fortunate because the booth was completely packed out the butt. It was like the busiest booth at PAX. Like even if you were press or media, you had a very time getting into play, but I was very fortunate to do so. I will say that the game played good, but it played in an unusual sort of good because there was a really huge like gap in between the character classes. So normally when you play a shooter game, you have the tankier classes and the lighter classes, and it's just the scaling, like 50% health for 50% speed, but you still kill people more or less at the same speed. Not true in Overwatch. If you play the light characters, you will die almost instantly from any sort of high caliber thing or an explosive, couple of shots, anything else. If you play the heavier, bigger, tankier characters, some of which are only melee and don't even shoot anything, you have a boatload of health and it can take a ton to kill you. So there's a really huge discrepancy in time to kill between the players. Also mobility, some can fly, some can climb walls. I played Tracer a lot. That's one that I'll talk about that was very interesting. She had a Kimbo pistol, it's very simple. She also had this ability to dash. I press the space bar and she dashes it forward. I would liken it to flashing from League of Legends. You just dash straight ahead. But the really cool thing about her is that she had this rewind ability. She could go backwards in time. If you hit the E key, you will reverse backwards in time, get however much health you had. I don't know, 3 seconds. I think 3 seconds. It just sends you backwards 3 seconds in time. However much health you had 3 seconds ago, reload your guns, and it warps you back there, which gives you some really interesting sort of movement mechanics you can do, because you can dash 3 times and then go backwards in time to where you started and really throw people off. Again, it doesn't go backwards in time for them. It just kind of blinks you pretty quickly. And she has kind of a sticky bomb. She's a really light character, really fun to play, one of the more popular ones. And it reminded me a lot of actually like Counter-Strike playing with her, not because of the weird moving, but because of how headshot dependent she was. It made a huge difference if I shot people on the head versus the body. Same thing with the other lighter character. I believe her name was Widowmaker. This is basically a female Call of Duty. They wanted to make something familiar for other shooter players. She's got an assault rifle. It shoots hipfire when you aim down sights. It's a sniper rifle, and she's got a couple of jumps and bombs and stuff like. Oh yeah, she's got a grappling hook she can zip around on, which is kind of crazy. She played very normally. Some of the heavier characters, like the gorilla or the dwarf or the tank, they were just like big gnarly melee characters that would soak up rockets like crazy. One of the ones that really threw me off when I played her was Zara. It kind of looks like a more Butch Vi from League of Legends, just like the tankiest tank girl you can imagine, and she was kind of like the shield mistress. She had so much health when I tried to kill her. It was very difficult to do as a light character without my teammates, but it was still balanced because her offensive abilities were kind of limited. Her mobility was extremely limited. It was kind of interesting. So typically in any shooter game, or any MOBA, whatever, your Japanese guy is going to have a katana. He's going to be the swordsman because all Japanese people do swords or whatever. This time we have actually a Japanese bowmaster, arrowmaster, archer. That's the word I'm looking for. The Japanese guy in this game is very perfecting with his bow and arrows, and he has extra mobility, and he can kind of shoot sonar arrows and detect people. And despite all of this craziness, the game played really well. I'm going to tell you a little bit about, I got on the internet, I had to Google all this up and learn about it, some of the development ideas. Blizzard has planned this game to be kind of an entrant into the PC shooter market, but more of a casual entrant. But for, as far as we know, it's not going to be on consoles. That could change anytime. But the idea was that the game is easy enough to play so that casuals can get in and do it, but it's got a more competitive meta layer. That's like every single game now. They want to have a casual layer and then a super competitive layer. But the idea is that it's supposed to be easy to pick up and play, and they also wanted to be very team-oriented. They decided that objectives were super important and that having good core game modes were important. So there's only 2 game modes as of right now. There is a hill control mode, which is similar to domination or like Hardpoint from Call of Duty. And then there's an escort mode where you have to push this giant ship all the way to the enemy base and escort it out. That's the one that I've played most of. It played pretty well. It's kind of like reverse CTF or slow CTF. Really, you just have to protect your guys pushing the ship. Usually the tanky guys push the ship or throw up shields, the little guys flank and kill. And it played pretty well. I had a lot of duels with people back and forth playing. I actually played Tracer versus Tracer, and we were like both blinking forward and backwards in time and doing all kind of crazy stuff. It was really fun. But one of the interesting design decisions is that they decided not to include a team deathmatch mode. They decided that if a team deathmatch mode is included, then all of the players are going to play TDM. They're not going to play anything else, and then it's going to kind of ruin the game. So when the game launches, whenever in the world that's going to be, because the beta is not even until 2015, there will be no team deathmatch mode. There will only be objective gameplay modes, and I for one think that's a good thing. I really never thought too much of team deathmatch to begin with. I always played other modes, so I'm pretty happy with that. Some of you might not be. The game I played was in pre-alpha, but it was still graphically pretty good looking. It was cel-shaded, it was simple, and the balance was not perfect. There were some characters that were stronger than others, but it was extremely well polished for an alpha, so I'm hoping for a really solid final launch here. And as for what I think about the overall game in general, I think it's great. It was the best one that I played at PAX. I was really happy to play it. I'm really kind of sad that the beta is not until the latter end of 2015. And a few other impressions. I'm kind of spitballing here. Maybe I'm just playing too much MOBAs these days. But looking at the game, looking at the graphical requirements, which seemed pretty low, at least at PAX, and how it plays, and our distinct characters, and the MOBA feel, and a lot of other things, I'm feeling that this is going to be a sort of low-end entry to the PC market, like not going to be a full $60 game, but more like a 15 or 20, or like a free-to-play kind of model, or maybe Activision Blizzard's trying to get on the PC FPS esports or something here. I'm just not feeling full $60 game. Maybe like you pay $60, you get everything, or you can buy a couple of characters at a time. Not entirely sure, but it's very easily set up to copy the League of Legends business model and come in at that low-end free-to-play or extremely cheap-to-play kind of like, I think it's like Dota. You get all the characters if you just buy it the one time. But overall, this is definitely something that you should look forward to. Other characters that I can talk about, there was this Reaper guy. He had a skull mask on and dual shotguns. The shotguns had abysmal range, but they were really dangerous up close. He had a sort of wraith mode, untargetable mode. He would just turn into a shadow and float around. Now, you could still see him, and he couldn't go through walls or anything, but you couldn't hurt him for like a couple of seconds. It was really not an offensive ability. He used it to escape. And usually when that happened, I was playing Tracer for the most part, or Widowmaker. I would kind of follow him around, and as soon as he would become targetable again, I'd nail him. The Japanese guy has a really unusual, we'll call it ultimate ability. He can shoot this giant dragon that flies through the sky all over the map, and it flies. It's like a spirit dragon, like pure spiritual energy. Yes, I'm referencing Bleach, but I actually got nailed by that through a building. I saw it coming. I didn't know that. I'd never seen the tutorial, so I was like, I'm gonna take cover behind this wall, and a giant magic dragon just busts through the wall and kills me. But hey, it was later on in the game I managed to hit him with a sticky bomb. There's a cowboy type character that can roll and tumble and stumble people and can like quick draw. There's a giant German dude in armor, an armored gorilla. He's the one that throws up a couple of different kind of shields. He's really more of a defensive character. And dude, there was Pharah. There's like an Egyptian lady that is basically Mecha Birdman, and she flies around shooting rockets. Had a really good time with her because that reminded me a lot of Tribes. I played Tribes back in the day, and that sort of floaty, sort of jetpacky sort of gameplay really fit well with me. I was able to kill a lot of people. I guess I'm rambling at this point. Overall, the takeaway, if you've watched this far, is that Overwatch is a really cool game, and whenever the beta comes out, I would highly recommend you download it and play it. Drifter out.